During a pretrial deposition in a medical malpractice case or an accident case, why does the defense attorney want to know whether or not you can play sports now? Why do they want to know whether you can go hiking or go mountain climbing or go skiing or play basketball? Would you like to know the answers to those questions? Come join me for a walk through the neighborhood as I share with you the answers to those questions. Hi, I'm Gerry Oginski, a New York medical malpractice and personal injury attorney. During the course of your pretrial question and answer session known as a deposition, the answers that you give to these questions represent your sworn testimony, and it carries the same exact weight as if you are testifying in court in front of a jury at the time of trial. The only difference is this is taking place years before you get to trial, and typically either it's done in your attorney's conference room or on a Zoom video call. So now, why would the defense attorney ask you questions about your physical activity? Why would they want to know whether you're able to do certain sports activities? I'll tell you why. It's because the defense wants to know how your physical activities are different or limited since the time of your injury. The defense is entitled to know what problems you have now. They're entitled to know what limitations and restrictions you have currently, what things you can no longer do that you used to be able to do before. They have to evaluate your injuries and your damages. And one of the ways they do that is by asking you questions about your daily activities now. What limitations and problems do you have now? What are you restricted from doing? What things can't you do as well as you did before this injury? Then the defense will go back and ask you questions about the type of activities you did before your injury, whether you had any limitations, whether you had any restrictions, whether there was anything you could not do. So maybe you walked 5 miles a day beforehand, and now you can barely walk 2 blocks. They will want to know exactly that. They will want to know whether you go rock climbing, whether you go skiing, whether you go hunting. Whatever activities you have done in the past, they will want to explore whether you are able to do any of those activities now. There may be instances where you say, listen, I can do some of those activities, but I do them with pain. I do them with restrictions. And the defense will be entitled to explore all those differences and distinctions. Now, why else do they want to lock you into your testimony about those things that you can and can no longer do or do with difficulty? One of the key things that they're going to look for is your limitations, your restrictions, your inability to do certain activities. Now, if you say that you are constantly fatigued and can't walk more than 1 or 2 blocks, that's fine. If you say you can't go ahead and play sports with your kids, that's fine, as long as this is all true. One of the key reasons why the defense wants to ask you these questions, other than learning from you in your own words exactly what you can and cannot do now, is that they are going to want to verify whether or not what you are saying is actually true. And there are 2 different ways, or actually a few different ways, to verify whether those limitations on your activities are actually true. One of the ways is to get your treating doctor's medical records, and they will certainly do that. Another way is to go ahead and have you examined by a doctor of their own choosing. Another way to do that is to try and capture you on surveillance video, hidden video, to capture you doing your daily activities without you recognizing anybody's watching. And they will hire a private investigator in many instances to try and follow you for a number of hours or a number of days to see if what you are saying is true and accurate, to see whether or not you are actually doing certain activities you claim that you could no longer do or do with difficulty. That happens very often where the defense gets the sense that your testimony may be less than truthful about your daily activities. In that instance, if you have been less than truthful, now you have opened up a can of worms that could literally destroy your case and could certainly have a significant impact on your credibility, which could ultimately sink your case. So don't think for a second that the defense, when they ask you questions about your sports activity level and things that you can and can't do today, don't think that they're doing it because they just want to know what kind of sports you play and they want to form a bond with you about the type of sports that they used to play back in the day. No, no, no. There's a very important reason why they are asking you about your physical activity level and those sports activities that you used to do before you suffered these injuries, as well as the injuries that you have now. And don't be surprised if one day you're walking down the street and you notice a van with smoked out windows is following you. And then you begin to wonder, hey, wait a second, could this be surveillance video? Could this be a private investigator trying to follow me to see if I'm doing certain activities that I claim I could not do? In all likelihood, you're not going to notice a private investigator who's following you. They try and do their best to make sure that they are not noticed or observable. Why do I share this quick information with you? I share it with you to help you understand how these types of cases work in the state of New York. I realize you're likely watching this because you have questions or concerns about your own matter. Well, if your matter did happen in New York and you are thinking about bringing a lawsuit but haven't done so yet because you still have questions that need to be answered, what I invite you to do is pick up the phone and call me. I answer questions like yours every single day, and I'd love to chat with you. You can reach me at 516-487-8207 or by email at Gerry, Gerry, at Oginski-law.com. That's it for today's video. I'm Gerry Oginski. Have a fantastic day.